I'm here today with Dan Wowack, Wilderness Skills Instructor, and we're talking about how to use every bit of your resources when you're out in the wilderness, you're out in the backwoods, and one of the things that we've got that you would think that you would get rid of, you'd throw it out, would be the fat off the inside of a hide, right?
Yes, exactly. So we have a raccoon hide actually here. And during the long hunter era, they would bring a lot of hides back. We know that they would go out and trap and bring hides back. And to process a hide correctly, once you have it skinned out and you have the carcass outside the animal, we need to remove this heavy fat layer that's inside. And that's going to keep the skin from actually rotting. So we need to remove that. But when we remove that fat, we can utilize that around camp to not only protect our equipment, but also protect some of the gear that we wear, such as moccasins and leggings.
So the main thing they were doing out here was hunting, and one of the things they were doing is bringing back hides, and every single one of those hides would have to be processed right there in the field, right?
Yep, right at their camp they would have to process.
So all that, every single one of these hides would have to be scraped, and so that's what you're going to do with this one today.
Yep, and then we're going to take it one step further, and we're going to make something called Fatwax, and that Fatwax is that protectant I was talking about. Right here we have our raccoon hide, and what we need to do now is take this heavy layer of fat off. So it's turned inside out, the hair side is in. And ideally, to preserve this hide, to be able to do anything else with it, we need to get this fat off. And we're going to take this fat off just quickly. What we're using here is a deer scapula, because this is something, again, that's outside. It's one less piece of gear that we would have to carry around camp. So all we're going to do is begin to scrape this fat. And it comes off quite easy, as you can see.
Yeah.
So as I get that off, what I'm going to do then with it is take some of this. See, it almost pulls off, and I'm going to just drop it into my pot, and we're going to render that down. So I'm going to continue this process to try to gather as much of this fat off. Ideally, to preserve the hide, we want to get all the fat off.
So this is raccoon. The other obvious animals are deer. What other kind of animals would they also do this with?
Bear has a lot of good fat, so they call it bear grease. You can make same idea with it. So the bear, beaver also has a lot of fat on it. It would work really well. Something like a fox or a coyote or even a possum, they just don't have enough fat to really render it out to do anything like this.
So how long do you think this is going to take to render down?
The amount of fat we have in there, it'll probably take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. So you just want to just slowly cook this, allow that fat to have render down, so basically melt and liquefy, and I keep stirring it around. We don't want it to burn or anything like that, so we want to just take our time. There is some hair and there's some grizzle in there, which isn't a big problem because we're not using this to eat, we're using this to treat tools in the field.
Right, and we'll know it's done when we've got mostly liquid and then whatever kind of connective tissue kind of gets scraped off to the side. The cracklings part,
cracklings, yep.
Right.
The hardener that we need for this is some melted beeswax.
So this looks like it's cooked down really well. Is it ready to go?
Yeah, at this point it's ready to go. What we're looking for is 50% tallow, 50% wax.
We got beeswax here and it's pretty much melted.
Okay, so we can take our tallow right off of our fire, and I'm gonna mix these two together. Try to keep as much of the
solids out
out as possible. Give this a little mix, and then we're going to take this and we'll put this in a smaller tin. That way it's more portable.
Yeah, we can store it right in here.
Yep. Now that we have the wax and the tallow mixed, we can just let it sit and cool, and once it's cooled down, then we can apply it to whatever we would need. The fat wax is now hardened up, so you can use this on a multitude of different things. We can use it on any type of metal, so we can take something like my tomahawk here, and we could just work that onto the metal, and that's going to give it a good protectant so it doesn't rust in foul weather like this. It also works really well on a wood handle. It's going to help protect that wood to not let it dry out and crack, anything like that. It works very well for. Knife sheaths, anything that's leather works good for. Something even like my leggings, if I want to add some water protectant to it, I can do that. Flintlock rifle, this works really well for also. So there's just a huge variety of uses. And in worst case scenario, if you were out in the backcountry and you had very bad chapped lips or anything like that, you can also use it as a lip balm itself. So you can put it on there and it moisturizes.
Multi-purpose.
Yep.
Kind of protectant and lubricant for whatever you need.
Yep.
Sounds great. So it's amazing what you can do with a little bit of beeswax and the fat left over on the inside of a raccoon skin. I am amazed, and it was really actually a very simple process, although scraping the fat off didn't look that easy. I mean, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a learned skill, so once you learn that skill, it becomes pretty easy.
And probably is harder and easier with different kinds of animal hides.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but still, an amazing process, and what you get left over, I mean, this finished product seems to be useful for just about everything. I mean, waterproof your clothing, waterproof your shoes, you know, protect your metal equipment. So, tremendous quantity of uses that you can use it for. So, I'm just flabbergasted. It's just great to watch the process and a lot of fun. So, thank you, Dan, for bringing this wonderful, sharing with us these skills and techniques. It's been so much fun working with Dan. If you're interested in bushcraft, if you're interested in learning about how to survive in the wilderness, make sure to check out Dan's YouTube channel, and we'll put a link down in the description below, and also the Coal Cracker Bushcraft School. So make sure to check out that. That'll be down in the link also down in the description section. So thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching.